Hi, my name is Brittany, and I'll be doing the musculoskeletal neurological assessment on my patient here. First, you want to start out by providing patient privacy and doing hand hygiene. Alright, so I'm going to be doing your assessment today, okay?
Okay.
Alright, so we're going to start by palpating the radial pulses. And they're nice and strong. And then we're going to do the brachial. And then we're going to test her grip strength with her hands. So if you'll squeeze my hands as hard as you can within reason. Okay? So that's good. She has good strength in her hands. Now we're going to move on to range of motion of her hands. So what I want you to do is hold your hands out and turn over and back and spread your fingers out and then back. You make a fist and try to touch your thumb to your pinky finger. Perfect. Okay. If you'll hold your hands out again, spread your fingers out, and don't let me move your fingers. Okay? Okay? So that's great. Now we're going to move on to her arms and the strength of her arms. So I'm going to have you go out and back and up and down, out to the side, and then bend them. Okay? So that's great. She has good range of motion with her arms and good strength. Don't let me press your arms down, okay? Okay, and then push against me. Okay. So now we're going to do her range of motion of her shoulders. So what I want you to do is raise your shoulders up, and then down, and back to the front. And then don't let me push them down. You hold them up. Okay? So she has good strength and good range of motion in her shoulders. You can also go like that. And that's another way to test for range of motion in the other arm. Okay. Now we're going to move on to the legs. We're going to inspect the skin. We're going to look for symmetry. We're going to look for varicose veins. She does have some varicose veins and a little bit of bruising on her lower extremities. Hair distribution looks good also. Alright, we're going to move on to her pulses. So she'll have a popliteal, which is behind the knee. So you can feel that. And then the posterior tibialis is kind of behind the ankle. It's nice and strong. And then the dorsalis pedis is right on top of the foot. All her pulses are nice and strong. So now we're going to move on to range of motion with the hips, the knees, the ankles, and the feet. So I'm going to start with her feet. We're going to kind of work our way up. So move your feet up and then back down, and then spread your toes and back together, and then don't let me push and then pull. Okay? So she has good strength in her feet and range of motion. You can turn your feet out to the side and back together. Okay. Now we're going to move on to your knees. So you can bend your knee up. She can bend it up really good and back down. And then do this one, bend it up, back down. Now we're going to move on to her hips. So I'm going to have you lay down for me. Alright, I want you to stick this leg out and raise it up. Okay, and back down. And then this leg, back up, back down. I'm going to take your knee and we're going to go like that. And like that. Alright, and then kind of turn on your side. And kind of crunch your knee up to your chest. There we go. Alright, I'm going to lay back down. You can sit up. Alright, so she has good range of motion in her hips, knees, ankles, and feet. For her ankles, you can also do, like you can have them pull their feet towards them, or you can dorsiflexion back down. Alright, so we're going to move on to her spine. So I'm going to have you stand up for me. We're going to stand up first. We're just going to inspect first. You're looking at their joints, make sure they're symmetrical, no obvious deformities. So I'm going to have you turn around. We're going to do your spine. So I'm going to have you lean forward just a little bit. And you're going to run your fingers just right along their spine, checking for scoliosis and kyphosis. I don't feel any deformities. There's no scoliosis or kyphosis. All right, you can stand back up. So now we're going to do range of motion with her spine. So you obviously seen she can reach her toes or reach that way. And now I want you to reach toward the side and then back this way and then kind of lean back. So she has good range of motion of her spine. All right, now we're going to do her gait. So I'm going to have you walk just a few steps that way and then back to me. So her gait's good. It's not altered. She's not dragging one foot or anything like that. Now we're going to do the Romberg test. So I'm going to have you stand just like this. Hold your hands out and close your eyes and try not to sway or lean forward. Just have them do this for like about 10 seconds or so. Okay, so there was no swaying. She did fine with that. All right, now we're going to move on to the Babinski reflex. I'm gonna have you sit back here on the bed. The Babinski reflex is the bottom of the foot. You use the bottom of the foot to check this reflex. So what you do, you would use a reflex hammer and use the opposite side of the reflex hammer, and you just run your reflex hammer across the bottom of their foot. You shouldn't see any reaction in adults ages 2 or older. In babies, you would see their toes kind of spread apart, but you shouldn't see anything in adults. So now I'm going to move on to the skills movements and coordination. So we're going to do the rapid movement first. So I want you to have your hands just on your lap and then raise them up and then down, and raise them up, down. So that's great. She can do that. There's coordination with that. All right, I'm going to have you touch my finger and then touch your nose. All right, that's great. So she can do that. She can coordinate the movement between my finger and her nose. And then we're going to move on to having her heel go across her opposite shin. So I'm going to have you lay back again. And then I want you to take this heel, and run it across your shin. So that's great. She can coordinate that, no problems. Have you sit up. All right, now we're going to do the position sense of the finger. So what I want you to do is hold your fingers out and close your eyes and tell me if I'm moving your finger up or down.
Up, down, up, down, down, up.
Okay, so that's great. She did a great job with that. Now we're going to move on to the sensation in her face, hands, legs, and feet. So I'm going to use something dull, like a cotton tip swab, and then something a little bit sharper. So I'm going to have you close your eyes, and you're going to tell me if it's dull or sharp.
Dull, sharp,
Just keep your eyes closed.
sharp, dull, sharp, dull, sharp, dull, sharp, dull, dull, sharp, dull.
Okay, so she can tell the sensation with those. The last thing would be checking the reflexes. I don't have an actual reflex hammer, so I'm going to describe how you would do it. So for the brachioradialis, you would use the reflex hammer and go right about in here to check for that reflex. And then for the patellar, it's right here at the knee. And then for the Achilles, it's right behind the ankle. You would use your reflex hammer for that. Do you have any questions?
No.
Okay. Well, this concludes my assessment of the neurological and musculoskeletal.